What do you call two guys that were there when this happened?
Back to return at Spurlock. Michael Spurlock at the 10. He's to the 20. He's to the 25. For the 30. To the 40-yard line. We could see history. 50, 40, to the 30-yard line. Run, Michael, run, Michael, run, Michael, run. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. There you go.
And that.
Shotgun set. 3 receivers left. And here's the snap, and the blitzer is picked up. Brady underneath. Caught ball. Evans. He has the record at the 11-yard line. Mike Evans becomes the first NFL player in league history to record 1,000 yards or more in his first 7 seasons and want to throw by Brady. Congratulations, Mike Evans.
Who can forget?
Gannon looking, Gannon throws up the middle. That's intercepted at the 30. Derek Brooks, 30. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Derek Brooks, the most valuable player in the National Football League. There it is. The dagger's in. We're going to win the Super Bowl. Here's the snap. Mahomes running to his right. Look out. He may run. Mahomes directly. Oh, throw the end down. Battle intercepted. Picked off in the end zone. Bucs are going to beat the Chiefs. We're the champions of the world, and we still have 1:33 to go. Devin White, what a great second season. That's it for KC. Bucs are the Super Bowl champs. They can't stop the clock.
We call them the Salty Dogs.
Welcome, everybody, to the Salty Dogs podcast. I am Scott Smith.
And I am Jeff Ryan.
And we are the Salty Dogs.
Yes. It's about as salty as I'm going to get today.
Well,
it's a few days before Thanksgiving, so I'm taking I'm thankful for a lot of things.
Yeah, that's true. But we just got a little bit of news right before this podcast that we didn't like.
What?
So, what?
You're putting it mildly that I didn't like.
You were really pissed.
I am.
It's not the biggest deal in the world.
No.
But the Buccaneers' Week 13 game against Carolina got flexed from 1 p.m., which is at Raymond James Stadium, from 1 p.m. to 4:05 p.m.
Correct.
The reason that would make us salty, even though in the grand scheme of things it's not that big of a deal, and maybe even some fans would prefer it that way, is that it's just we like 1 o'clock games in terms of work schedule.
Correct.
Right.
It changes your lifestyle. Well, basically, instead of sitting at, you get up in the morning and you go, and now you're going to sit at home for 3 extra hours before you go to work. And then
later 3 Right. So it's kind of a waste of 3 hours for us.
Right.
But that's not really most people's concern.
Apparently, it's not about us, and I'm starting to get a little disappointed about that.
Well, Jeff, we've lost 5 of our last 6 games.
Well, it's not because of we're actually getting flexed
to clear a spot for a game
for another
that
game.
CBS would like to show.
Yeah, and that would be Denver and Houston.
Because Houston's the hot team, and they are very interesting, and Denver's won 4 in a row.
Right.
So,
But if you're an NFC person, you're not going to watch that game anyway.
And Carolina's 1-9.
Yeah, there is that.
So, I mean, I can understand.
Sure.
We're not thrilled about it, but again, it's not the end of the world. And like I said, some fans may like it that way.
And way it is there's going to be a lot of flexing between now and the end of the year, because this is where they're going to look at all those New York Jet games and go, oh geez, what are we doing? So
there's going to be more local. There's going to be more flexing than you'll see at your local gym.
Yes. Oh, you funny guy today.
So anyway, let's get past that, because we're going to mostly talk about the last game and the upcoming game.
All right.
But we do also have some roster moves that will be known by the time this is posted.
Okay.
It's not big names.
I don't know this, so you're going to inform me about this stuff.
It's not huge names.
Uh-huh.
But it does give you some idea of how concerning some of these new injuries are.
Okay.
So the Bucs, early in the day, they opened up a few spots between the roster and the practice squad by releasing tight end, or actually waiving tight end David Wells from the 53-man roster. Just a quick explanation there. Wells is maybe a vested veteran, but even if he is, once you pass the trade deadline, every player who's cut, even vested veterans, go through waivers. So that's actually kind of a bit of important news today, but I'm going to get back to that regarding Shaquille Leonard. I'm going to get back to that after I finish talking about these roster moves. Released from the practice squad are 2 defensive backs that recently joined, that being Don Gardner, the cornerback, and Jaquan Johnson, the safety, who just got here a week ago.
Right.
All right, so then you got a total of 3 spots there. A little later we find out this is how they're filled. J.J. Russell is being promoted. He's being signed off the practice squad to the active roster.
All right.
So with the other 2 releases and then his promotion, there's 3 spots open on the practice squad, and they go to a linebacker named Vi Jones, a cornerback named Quandre Mosley, and a wide receiver named Raleigh Webb.
Okay.
the promotion of J.J. Russell makes me think that they aren't 100% sure Levante David's going to play this week.
Yeah, I agree because
He suffered a groin injury.
and
Those can be tough to play through.
how I looked at it is how mad he was.
Oh, okay.
You
That's a
know,
good
how
point.
his reaction was like he knew, this could be more than just 5 days of hurting.
So that will be very bad news
Mm-hmm.
if that's the case. But you have to prepare for the possibility.
Right. And we're not saying Levante's out.
We don't know
We're
that.
just-
We have
we're-
no idea.
Right.
I'm just saying the promotion of Russell makes me think they're not sure if he's going to be available. Because if Levante was out, I assume Servassier Dennis, the rookie, who did fill in for him after he got hurt, will get the start.
Right.
And we'll find out a lot about him. And then you still want to have 4 inside linebacker or off-ball linebackers, and so J.J. Russell would be your fourth one that's active along with Devin White and K.J. Britt.
Right. Okay.
And maybe Servassier would play less in special teams if he's playing every defensive snap, and J.J. Russell is a proven special teams player. So they're there.
Definitely going to have to keep an eye on this.
Don't really know a whole lot about these 3 new practice squad players, I got to be honest with you.
fair.
But one of them's a linebacker,
Yeah.
and one of them's a cornerback, and both Carlton Davis and Jamel Dean got hurt.
That's called an educated guess.
So there's at least 3 corners on the practice squad now.
Crazy.
With Mosley, Richard LeCount, and Keenan Isaac.
All right.
So that's a position that even if nobody gets promoted or activated, you need a certain number of players to practice. So, if 2 guys aren't practicing, which is a possibility with Davis and Dean, then you bring in 2 more.
Right.
Or 1 more in this case. Actually, it's not a net gain because we cut Don Gardner, so I don't know. What do I know?
You got all the way through that, and then you just...
We have Derek Pitts on the practice squad,
Okay.
too. So
There you go.
we've got a number of them. Anyway, those are the roster moves. Now, I briefly mentioned Shaquille Leonard. Did you see that news?
I did.
That was kind of surprising. And it's relevant to us because we're about to play the Colts.
Correct.
I mean, we don't normally spend a lot of time going around the NFL news.
Correct.
So were you surprised by that?
Nothing surprises me with the Colts anymore.
Well, okay, you're making it sound like this is a crazy move.
No, but I'm just saying nothing surprises me with the Colts anymore.
Well, most people probably know this, but Shaquille Leonard was an instant hit upon being drafted. That was the year they got.
What, 2 years ago?
No, it was actually at least 4. This is his 6th season.
Wow.
But that was the draft where they notably got Quentin Nelson in the first round and Shaquille Leonard in the second round, and both of them were all pros as rookies.
Yes.
That's about as good as you can hit a draft.
Yeah, right.
But he had some ankle injuries, and then last year he dealt with a number of back injuries and eventually had surgery, and he's only played 3 games last year, and there was a little bit of concern if he'd be able to return to form this year. Mm-hmm. And he has started every game, all 9 of them, but actually, no, that's not every game because they played 10.
Right. But he started many games this year.
He started 9 and played in 9, but his production has not been up to his usual standards. He's been a Pro Bowler 3 times and Pro Bowler 3 times and all Pro.
Yeah, but you've kind of given up on him kind of quickly, though.
Well, it's a money thing, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's hard. It is weird because his playing time had sagged, and he talked about that. And from the statements that both the Colts owner Jim Irsay and he put out, it feels like it was a mutual thing. Like they decided they were both fine with this, and maybe Leonard can get an opportunity somewhere else right away. There didn't seem to be any acrimony there.
Right.
I think part of it is he's still due a lot of money. If some other team claims him, that helps the Colts.
Colts offset it because his money's guaranteed this year.
That's the thing. So there's still like 6. If you claimed him now and played him the rest of the year, it would cost you $6.1 million, which is a lot for 7 games.
Yeah, well, you're renting a player at that time, but can he put you over the top?
Yeah, I mean, it depends if you still think he's good. I mean, apparently he hasn't been playing all that well because of the injuries. So,
but what's their logic of they feel they have someone better than, I guess?
Well, Zaire Franklin has really emerged as the linebacker that's getting tons of tackles and all that. I don't know if he's as good as peak Shaq Leonard, who was just an amazing player when he wasn't hurt. It could be partially that he's got that $6.1 million guaranteed the rest of this year, but his money next year is not guaranteed.
Right.
However, I believe at least a good portion of it is guaranteed for injury.
That could be a storyline for us during our game.
Okay.
See if he makes a difference.
So if he had he had continued to play and gotten injured, then they'd be on the hook for even more.
Right.
You know, you've seen that in recent years with some quarterbacks. They get like Jimmy Garoppolo and Derek Carr.
Yeah, you're just at that point where, hey, let's just set them
Put
down.
them in bubble wrap, make sure they don't get hurt. I think it might have happened to Matt Ryan too.
Yeah,
because you just don't want
later.
You don't want to. You don't want to be on the hook for that injury guarantee.
So it's smart maneuvering of the dollars. I like it.
So, you know, at least we can say this, man. Quarterbacks around the league are dropping like flies.
Oh,
and I'm glad that ours is still healthy. It's a lot of knocking on wood going on.
Yeah, considering how much he's scrambling and keeping plays alive and taking hits.
I
amazing.
am so impressed with Baker this season.
I don't know. I was somewhere and someone was telling me about how we really need a quarterback, and I finally just had to stop and just say, have you even watched any of our games? I mean, seriously, he's doing everything he's being asked of. And, you know, of course, he said after the game we had him on Bucs radio, and, you know, I fumbled the ball, my fault. That hurt us a lot.
It's the first fumble he's lost all year.
Correct. And that was the 3-point loss because of, you know, we figure minimum.
You're closing in on field goal.
You're going to
range.
get field goal range. And the defense did stop the 49ers from only kicking a field goal after they got it back. So that was a 3-point swing. So, or would it be a 6-point swing because they got 3 and we didn't get 3?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay. But I think his play has been outstanding. I'm very, very pleased.
Yeah, his play, his leadership, the way the team is rallying behind him, the way he takes responsibility for anything that doesn't go well after his press conferences are very impressive, I think.
Yeah, he does not point a finger. If he points a finger, it's at himself.
Yeah, but he hasn't really had to a whole lot because he's played very well.
He played well.
He made some more really good plays under pressure in this last one, which has just been a calling card for him all year. And I liked what Dave Canales said last week about that particular issue. And it was after we'd already recorded this, so this is the first time I get to share it. He said, Baker does well in pressure situations because the chaos calms him down.
I agree.
That's crazy. That's not how it's supposed to work.
Someone else was saying, I can't remember who was telling me. There's a football person that said Baker is best when he's being doubted and he's got a chip on his shoulder because for whatever reason, it makes him process things differently.
And that's a mental thing, but I'm saying physically and the way he can perform, it's amazing that, as Canales said, chaos calms him down. And he has made some of his best plays when things look dire.
Yeah. And unfortunately, things have looked dire.
From time to time.
Yeah.
The pass protection for Baker has not been as good the last couple weeks.
No.
That has been – he's overcome that, even though he's taken 7 sacks in the last 2 games. He's overcome that by this ability to make plays. But that's mostly between the 20s. When it gets down there in the red zone and it's breaking down on you, it's a lot harder.
Yes.
And we saw that in this game when they were trying to come back. 3 drives to end the game into San Francisco territory, 2 that got into the red zone, and no points out of them. The first interception that Baker's thrown in the red zone all season. Did that skip off a dude's helmet?
Yeah, it was either off his hand or his helmet. That was a very, very – well, I'll take it back. I thought that it went off of Chris's hands.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
It seemed to me like it skipped off a dude's helmet.
Well, could have. It was.
I should watch it.
We should. But that was a freak play and a great defensive play to
dive and catch it.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, it was a bummer, though.
Yeah,
man.
well.
I really liked the no interceptions in the red zone thing
well,
that he had going.
It's a good thing to like.
All these great – I hate when great notes are killed, and there were at least 2 of them in this game because Tristan Wirfs allowed a sack.
Yeah.
And
there's an asterisk that needs to go in there. I'm sorry.
Because it was not long after he got injured and then came back in.
Yeah,
right?
It was like two plays later, he comes back in, and, of course, they're bull rushing him, and it's not like a bunch of slacks there. They teamed up on him and went. So, yeah, I was disappointed for him, but I got really, really concerned when he went down.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, whoa, wait a minute.
Well, look at who went down. Levante and Tristan, I mean, how – you can't afford to lose your quarterback. But who else, when you start listing who you can afford to lose or can't afford to lose?
Jamel Dean goes down.
Yeah, we've survived some other Dean and Carlton Davis absences this season because Zion McCollum's filled in pretty well. Now, if they're both out,
I'll give you that. That's right. That's
if they're
true.
both out this week,
Right.
which is a possibility, then now you're counting on like Josh Hayes, who him and Kayvon Merriweather played on defense for the first time, and this week, and coach said they did pretty well.
Yeah.
But still, those guys are completely unproven. You can't say you'd feel more confident with Josh Hayes than Jamel Dean.
Yeah.
Because you don't know.
Well, that's true. That's very, very true.
And Jamel Dean wasn't awesome in his first few starts.
No.
So it's just a worry, and actually Indy's offense has been pretty good, whether it's been Richardson or Minshew.
Yeah, well, it's going to be Minshew on this game.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
But I mean, what I'm saying, they lost their original starting quarterback, albeit a rookie.
Yep.
And Minshew obviously has veteran experience, and they've scored the 9th most points in the game
It's crazy.
per game.
Mm-hmm. And he also scrambles too, does he not?
Minshew,
Yeah.
I think he's pretty mobile, not as
Yeah.
much as Anthony Richardson, of
Right.
course. The Buccaneers played 7 rookies at one point or another on defense.
It's funny because we were at one point. I did make that comment. Is it half of our defense rookies? And I couldn't do the math as the plays were going on. But
I'm not sure there was ever a time when all 7 were on the field at the same time.
Yeah, was there? I wonder at what point was there?
I don't know because Marquise Watts is one of them, and he only played 3 snaps.
Okay.
So it'd be a little harder to figure out. But you had Kalijah Kancey. He played
Right.
a lot, obviously, as he always does. Yaya Diaby, who had another
had a great game.
Servassier Dennis.
3.
I said Marquise Watts. That's 4.
Right.
Christian Izien has already been playing all year as a slot corner, but that's 5.
That's 5, right.
And then Kayvon Merriweather, who actually started the game at safety in Ryan Neal's place. And Josh Hayes, who was pressed into service when the second corner went down.
Right.
So 7 rookies.
And honestly, when you really look back at it, they played pretty well. You take that one drive where you had them on like the 2-yard line.
Yeah, well, they weren't in yet on that one.
Correct, but I'm just saying defensively, the team played.
I think you better walk that back a little.
You don't think so? At least
They gave up 420 yards.
Yeah, but at least during the half.
You mean in the
halftime.
second half?
In the second half, no, not good. 3 touchdowns in the third quarter, was it?
No, 2.
For them?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just thinking.
Oh, are you saying that it was only 13?
Yeah, I thought defensively the team played well in the first half.
Okay.
It was the second half that it fell apart.
I mean, I think is a bit of a stretch.
I'm talking about against the 49ers, considering the last game we played, it was like 28-0.
Yeah, it definitely was a lot more. It was a much more competitive game at halftime, and then that 76-yard touchdown to Ayuk really got the Avalanche going.
Actually, the play before that makes me madder.
That one was bad, too.
Yeah, Michael Pahanic and Michael in communications, we just watched that play a little bit ago because we were trying to decide what developed there.
It was like a 21-yard catch and run for Kittle.
Yes.
And he leaked out to the left side and was wide open by like 15 yards.
Yeah, and he started at his 3-yard line and was able to get to like the 20-yard line.
24.
Or there. Okay, well, 21-yard gain then.
So did you guys figure it out?
It just looked like everyone bid on the fake. And everyone went to the left, and he skirted out to the right.
I will say.
Which hurt because that was like third down at that point. Second down.
They were backed up.
Yeah, because the first down they stopped them.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you had to punt it away, and Camarda did that incredible angled punt to bunt. Too. I mean, it's hard to punt a 53-yard punt and have. I mean, usually when you're angling the ball out, you're punting from like the 45. This is for a 53-yard punt that he got out at the 2. That's incredible.
Well, as he said on the Bucs Total Access show, just as they planned it, or just had they.
So the hope when you do that is, even though you had to punt and kill a drive that was close to midfield, you pin them down, you force them to punt it back, and you've still got good field position again. Yeah. But then they go 98 yards.
Yeah, that's kind of
That was the backbreaker.
Yeah. Well, interesting. During the half, Dave Moore and I were talking, and the Bucs were going to get the ball out at the half.
Yeah.
And Dave goes, they really need to score here. They need to. If they don't score here, this could get ugly quickly. And I was like, really? And he goes,
This is exactly what happened.
He goes, no. He goes, they need that momentum to make it tighter, Get it in because if San Francisco
we would have been
scores
ahead.
again, yeah.
If we scored a touchdown, it would have been 14-13.
Right.
I mean, ifs, ands, and
buts.
buts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Candy and nuts, we all be happy at Christmas. But
I've heard it that way before.
okay.
Is that what you want? Is that what makes you happy at Christmas? Candy and nuts?
Well, when you're poor, you take anything.
Well, if you're poor, are you getting candy and nuts?
Well, that's why it's such a treat if you did. That's why ifs and nuts were candy and nuts. Again, continue.
Well,
Quit sidetracking me.
so that first drive to start the third
Yep.
quarter when we were down 13-7.
Yep, you're in the game.
Started
now.
out promisingly enough. Got a first down. Got it to 3rd and 3.
Yes.
And this play didn't work, but I actually have it written down as one of the things I want to talk about because I liked, and I think you're starting to see the development of some sequences of plays in games where something you did earlier sets up what you're doing now. And I've got a couple examples of that.
All right.
And this is one of them. Because on this play, the Buccaneers lined up in a little trip formation out to the right with Rashad White also there behind them on that side.
Mm-hmm.
And earlier in the game, we'd lined up in the exact same formation, throwing a screen pass to White, and it worked really well.
It did.
So I'm like, oh, I wonder if they're running that screen pass again. And Baker did immediately look over there, but instead Palmer went deep.
Correct.
And he threw to him. That was the whole design of the play.
Yes.
And it was incomplete. But I loved the call.
The call was great. The execution, not so good.
Didn't happen.
Normally,
I don't like throwing downfield on 3rd and short because I'm like, let's just get the first down.
Yeah.
And then take a shot. But I love the design of the play.
Totally. And that's there.
And I'll give you another one.
All right.
On the touchdown.
You're just going to frustrate me throughout all this, because all I keep thinking about are the plays if they would have happened.
Well, this one worked.
Okay.
It was the
You're
Evans.
going to make me smile now.
It was the Evans touchdown. Now, what is around the goal line? What is Mike Evans?
All
Go ahead, White.
All right, before you say something, the funniest part is TJ on the sideline said to me in my ear, he goes, "When are we going to get Mike Evans in the game? Now tell your story."
Because he didn't have a catch.
He didn't have a catch yet.
But he didn't end up getting like 12 targets. So people just need to calm down. If it's the start of the second quarter and Mike doesn't have a catch yet, well, you know, not ideal, but calm down.
Yeah.
There's plenty of game to go.
There could be a lot of people like double teaming him, but continue.
Yeah. So it's like the Houston game. Mike and Chris weren't very involved because they were purposely taking them away. So Kate Otten and Rashad White went
There
wild.
you go.
And then later in the game, because it wasn't working, we were still moving the ball. Then they eased off on Mike and Chris a little bit, and then they got fed.
There you go.
In any case, in this case, he didn't have a catch yet.
Nope.
It's first and goal from the 1. What is Mike Evans best known for around the goal line?
Blocking.
Come on. The fade pass. He's so
In the corner.
good at the fade pass.
Man.
So he's lined up, 5 yards off of the end of the line, into the offensive line to the left, and there's a corner like right on him.
Mm-hmm.
And
I do love your play-by-play. Continue.
And I'm also standing here. I'm going to act it
I
out.
know.
Baker takes the snap and immediately looks towards where you would be looking if you're going to throw a fade pass. And I thought that's what it was going to be. And he looked that way, and he kind of cocked his arm. And Mike gave the corner a quick step like he was going to run that way.
Yep.
And then cut back to the middle of the field, and Baker threw it to him there, and it was perfect.
And he caught it.
And it played just like the other one. It played off something that had happened before, in this case, many times.
Mm-hmm.
You got to worry about, and I'm sure there will be another time when we'll line up, and he actually will run the fade.
Right. No, now you got to decide: are you going to go to the fade, or are you going to do that?
Which is he going to do? Right.
Yes.
So
now,
it's a game of it's a mind game.
You create doubt on the defense.
And in this particular case, you probably the guy didn't doubt it at all when Mike took a step out there, and that's why it worked so well.
Yeah.
And then he cut back to the middle, and it was actually the same. It ended up being the same route on the one he dropped against Tennessee.
Yeah.
It was like the exact same spot on the field.
Yes, that was great.
I feel like, aside from some red zone issues, although he did score 2 red zone touchdowns in this game.
Yeah.
The offense.
But we
go ahead.
We fumbled one in the red zone, and then we had a pick.
No, the fumble wasn't in the red zone.
It wasn't in the red zone.
The pick was in the red zone.
Okay.
We turned it over on downs once.
Yeah.
So I don't know if everybody in the world would agree with me, but I know some of the people I were talking to around the game and around here, I feel like I'm seeing the offense. I feel confident that the offense can move the ball.
No question.
I know we lost 27-14.
No. But you were also going against a pretty good team.
Yeah, very good.
And this was a measuring stick because you were trying to figure out where you're going to lay with these what you would call the top tier teams. And right now we're not in the top tier category yet.
You can't say it because the big ones in the NFC that we've had to face.
Right.
Philly, Detroit, and San
Philly's
Francisco.
9-1. San Francisco's now 7-3.
And Detroit's 8-2, and each of those teams beat us by double-digit points.
Yes.
So you can't, in good conscience, say the Bucs are in that tier.
Right, but this was one of those that you're coming off the Tennessee game, and you're saying, okay, we feel like we're starting to come together again, and here we go.
It was a tough draw right after that.
Well, it's a very tough draw after that, but you play the schedule where it lays. But I do, it just is frustrating in the fact that you had your opportunities and you didn't capitalize on those. And I think all teams say that. But in this particular instance, it was like, holy smokes, they're hanging with these guys.
Yeah. You do wonder, though, how there were stretches of that game where San Francisco's offense was doing whatever it wanted.
Well,
and they've done that to other teams.
The quarterback had a perfect rating.
Yeah. Which everybody after the game was like, that's the first time since 1990. I'm like, no, that happens a couple times a year. It was the first time it happened for the 49ers.
Since
like Joe Montana.
John Montana, right.
John Montana? Who's John Montana?
I'm just saying that, there's a long way to go, though.
And you wonder, did San Fran's offense take the foot off the gas a little bit in the fourth quarter?
I don't think Shanahan's that way.
Yeah,
I really don't. I don't think they were going to show any play that they hadn't shown yet.
Yeah.
I think they were running pretty much nothing unusual. But I just don't see them.
The calling card for them has always been that they can scheme guys wide open, and we saw that over and over again.
Yeah.
And we did not have a single pass defense in that game because most of the completions were to guys that were wide open.
Right.
And then they got room for yak, and that's frustrating.
Well, you also have to feel though, when the Buccaneers scored like within 46 seconds, something like that, they scored that touchdown. It only took like 46 seconds off the clock. Look at the fourth quarter, end of the fourth quarter, end of the third.
2 minutes and 26 seconds.
Okay,
but that's good to go 75 yards.
Yeah, but what did it take off in the fourth quarter? Only like 40.
It was only 44 seconds into the fourth quarter.
Right. So that particular instance, you're thinking, wow, there's
a lot of time.
There's a lot of time, and then you stop them. If I'm not mistaken, you stop the 49ers. You get the ball back, and then you end up marching for 5 minutes, but didn't get any points.
Yeah.
That was
well, like I said, our last 3 drives all went into their territory.
Yeah.
We only had 3 possessions, not counting the kneel down one play. We only had 3 possessions in the first half.
Yeah.
And as Baker pointed out, I was like, one of them I fumbled on in their territory. So then they came right back with a nice touchdown drive. But, that's what I'm saying. We only scored 7 points in the first half, but we really only had 1 drive that didn't go.
Yeah.
So, they were controlling the clock. They were doing these long, methodical drives.
But back to what you were saying, I do believe the offense is moving forward.
Yeah.
And each week, I think the offense looks better. And that is something to build on. And I'm going to go back to before the season even started. No one thought the Buccaneers were going to be very good to begin with this year.
Especially on offense.
Especially on offense. And when you jump out to a record of 3-1, then the narrative changes, like everybody needs to be a head coach and everybody, But I do really firmly believe that each game you can see a new wrinkle in the offense. You can see it gelling a little bit more. I'm pretty happy with it.
Baker's been good.
Yep.
We've developed basically the main 5 weapons for him. Mm-hmm. You get a little bit of Devin Tompkins here and there, who I think is best on end arounds.
Yeah.
But Mike and Chris, obviously. Trey Palmer.
Well, how about Chris doing that jet sweep?
Yeah. Good for him. Mike and Chris. Trey Palmer's been good enough as a third receiver. Mm-hmm. Some big plays. And then Cade Otton.
Right.
Who's very reliable.
Right.
And in that game, didn't he make he made a couple big plays down the seam.
Cade Otton?
Cade Otton.
Yeah, but he got dinged because of the one in the end zone.
I can't remember what happened on that
He
one.
dropped the ball.
Oh, well, that's not good.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
That was the one. It's kind of like what Coach said on his show. you good, something like that happens, that kind of tarnishes the good. But there's good there. There's still good there.
Yeah, there's a lot of good there. Man, McCaffrey.
And we usually used to shut him down when he was with.
Shut him down is a bit strong. But
I'm saying
did better against him than other teams did.
Yeah, in Carolina. Yeah.
Well, as somebody pointed out, I don't remember which coach pointed out last week, is like, what's the difference? Well, in Carolina, they had like 2 studs on offense.
And they got 5.
They've got 5 that you have to deal with. So it's a little bit different.
Can he not be like the happiest guy ever? Like, you traded me. Where did you trade me to? Or
to a guy who's going to use me even better than I've been.
Yeah. So now I'm in 7. Oh, that's right. You guys are 1-8 or 1-9, and
he should be happy with him for getting him out of there.
Oh, I'm
giving
sure.
him this opportunity.
I'm sure.
He's just the thing about him that
But I don't understand. Just a quick, brief thing here. What would be the thought process of trading him?
I think it was a contract thing. They'd signed him to a big deal, and then I think they had a little bit of buyer's remorse because for the next 2 years he kept getting hurt.
Right.
And it's always a risky maneuver to sign a running back to a really big deal.
Sure.
Because
Okay.
often it hasn't
Fair
worked
enough.
out. And so when they had a chance to get out of it and get some good assets, they did.
Yeah.
Now, I still don't think it was a good move.
No.
But I think that's why.
And lucky for him, he's been healthy.
Yeah, now he's healthy. And I think the thing that I didn't realize about him that's such a big part of his game is he breaks so many tackles.
Yeah.
I mean, you think he's not the biggest guy in the world, and he's fast and shifty. And
got really strong legs.
He just breaks tackles like every run.
Yeah,
you can't get him on an arm tackle.
Yeah, he keeps churning.
Yeah, I thought he was extremely impressive in that game.
They're a good football team. I mean, the fact that they lost 3 games, I look back and they didn't have their star guys playing, and they're
Debo and Trent Williams especially, they were out. They were back for our game though.
Sure, well, of course. But I will say it was a nice day.
The reason why I brought up, I wouldn't normally, it was a very nice day.
It was. I mean, you got to look for the positives.
The reason why I made a point of bringing up Tristan Wirf's sack allowed is because you can say it this way. It's the first sack he's allowed all season, and it was just after he got hurt. So that underscores how good of a year he's had, and hopefully will continue.
Isn't that amazing, though? I mean,
at left tackle.
That's what I'm saying. He's a freak. That's just a freak of athleticism. Yeah, I would say so. What?
There's lots of different things here I could go to. Well, let's just talk about some of the milestones.
Okay.
Levante did it. He passed Rondé Barber and is now second all-time in tackles in franchise history.
That was great.
And it was cool the way it happened because he needed 2 tackles. He needed 1 to tie him and 2 to pass him. And he got the tackle on like the first play of the game, and it was a tackle for loss, which is his calling card. And then about 3 or 4 plays later, he got a sack.
Right.
And that was the one that put him into second place.
Yeah.
It's incredible that Rondé Barber had a cornerback had 1,428 tackles. But now Levante's passed him. He's not catching Derek Brooks.
No.
He's still like 700 behind Derek Brooks. So not quite, but close to 700.
Yeah, even if you got 200 a year, that's another 4 years. Right?
That was not good math.
No. Well,
I
700,
guess so.
yeah.
I guess so, to pass him.
To pass him, if you went 3 years would be 6, and a 4th year would be 100. That math was there, Scott.
It's not always your strong suit.
I understand, but it was there. So when it is, I'm calling it.
He's 10 tackles away now from 100, which would be the 10th time he's done that. And only Derek Brooks had more with 12. And only 3 players since 2000 he would be the third to have had 10 100 tackle seasons.
Wow.
Bobby Wagner's one of them. I can't think of the other one. I mean, Levante's great. And did you he got a sack, like I said. Did you know he's actually also 10th in team history in sacks?
No. Really?
You wouldn't think that, would you?
No.
He's got 32 career sacks. That ranks 10th. Just one behind Brad Culpepper and JPP, maybe?
He could get there.
Well, I hope he can get one more sack in his career, especially the way we blitz.
Yeah. Yeah, we
blitz a lot.
Do or die.
He is one behind both Brad Culpepper and Jason Pierre-Paul. And only 2.5 behind Chidi Hanatu. So it's reasonable to think he could finish his career 7th in team history in sacks and 2nd in tackles. He's had a good number of interceptions in his career too.
Yeah.
I think they have in their press release, in their game release, they being the communications department. I think they have in their weekly game release a page on Levante that highlights him, comparing him to other linebackers, and the title here says Hall of Fame caliber.
I was just going to say they should be measuring him for a
yeah, but the problem is one Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
and so
but a lot of that is he played on teams that weren't doing very well.
I think more so is just the positional things. For a very long time, he was called an outside linebacker.
Right.
And that lumped him in with 3-4 outside linebackers who got sacks. So it was always the 3-4 outside linebackers with 10 sacks that got the Pro Bowl.
Right.
It didn't matter what Levante did. They wouldn't put him in the Pro Bowl. And he had a season where he was first-team All-Pro, and he was not voted into the Pro Bowl. That's ridiculous. So voters, however many years from now, are going to go, yeah, but was he ever considered one of the best in the game in his position? I mean, he only made one Pro Bowl. He absolutely has been considered one of the best of his.
But look at all the other numbers, though.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
Look, they list here. They list his numbers within those of these linebackers: Zach Thomas, Hall of Fame; Ray Lewis, Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Bobby Wagner, probably going to be a Hall of Famer.
Good shot.
Derek Brooks, Hall of Fame. Junior Seau, Hall of Fame. Brian Urlacher, Hall of Fame. Lance Briggs, Luke Kuechly, and Patrick Willis. Those are all incredible. Those are linebackers that everybody thinks are absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
right?
That's pretty good company.
His numbers, pick one. Tell me a guy out of the ones I just said.
Pick what? What do you mean?
Name one of the linebackers I just said. Because he compares differently to different ones.
Junior Seau.
Okay, Junior Seau. He has more tackles than Junior Seau. He has not as many sacks. He has almost the exact same number of interceptions. He has way more forced fumbles, and he has more fumble recoveries.
All right, how about Brian Urlacher?
Brian Urlacher. He has almost 300 more tackles than Urlacher.
See, now because I was surprised Urlacher made it into the Hall of Fame.
I wasn't surprised at all. I was surprised he was a first ballot guy.
Okay.
He has 12.5 fewer sacks. He has fewer interceptions than Urlacher, but he's got way more forced fumbles and more fumble recoveries.
So there's a shot.
How about Ray Lewis? Ray Lewis,
guy from Lakeland,
one of the best linebackers of all time.
All right.
Agreed?
Yeah.
He will have more tackles than Ray Lewis when he's done because he's only about 50 behind him.
Uh-huh.
He has more sacks than Ray Lewis. He doesn't have any. Ray Lewis has got him by a long shot in interceptions. Yeah. He's way more forced fumbles, and he's way more fumble recoveries.
Really? No, I would not think that.
It's Zach Thomas. I mean, you can pick any one of these, and in all of them, he compares them. He'll have more in several categories than all of them. But I don't think I don't think it's going to be there.
Yeah, because all the
who knows this?
Right.
I mean, when the time comes, we will definitely be doing trumpeting this.
Sure. But the average fan is not jumping out.
Levante David, definitely, like that page says, is Hall of Fame caliber.
Yep.
I'm concerned that he's not going to get the consideration he deserves.
Right.
But let's enjoy it while it lasts, and then 5 years after that, we'll do everything we can.
Then we'll argue about it.
We'll try really, really hard.
All right, that's fair.
Okay, and then Mike Evans, we mentioned he caught a touchdown pass.
He did.
So that's 88.
Yep.
And now he's tied for 15th. Isn't that weird to think that this guy that we know, that works here, and we've known him for about a decade now, there's only 14 players in the history of the NFL that have scored more, that have caught more touchdown passes than him. Only 14 in the history of the NFL.
104
and pretty
years.
soon he'll be ahead of several more of them.
Right.
So this time he moved out of a tie with Andre Reed into a tie with Don Maynard, a Hall of Famer, who's not from our time.
I think the Jets, right? Yeah.
He's still now he's 3 behind Devontae Adams, who can continue.
Yeah, who can keep going because he's playing.
And who else?
Well, hopefully it's this weekend.
Isaac Bruce.
He makes a few moves.
He'd have to get 3 to move up another spot.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
He's done it before.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's due for a game like that.
A 3-touchdown game?
Yeah.
You're asking for a lot. Dude.
I know, but if you don't ask, you don't get.
Just marking off the things
I know. I see this. You have a big piece of paper over there.
We were just talking about McCaffrey.
Uh-huh.
And we've also, along the way here, talked about how good the 49ers would scheme in guys opener. Yeah. His touchdown pass, his touchdown catch, the play design was incredible. It was incredible. And I was reading an article. I thought about that at the time, and then I was reading an article yesterday that specifically brought up that play and the other plays it was based on. And it's been a play that some teams have started to use a little bit. When you throw a pass to a running back, often you flare them out, right?
Right.
Or you throw them a little quick screen underneath. In this case, they got him out into the field, but he was lined up to Purdy's left. And right before the snap, he started hopping to his left like he was going to leak out that way.
Right.
But at the snap, he came back to the right, and he didn't run around the line. He ran right between the center and the right guard, and there was a seam between those two and the players they were blocking. He ran right through that, and then all the rest of the action from the pass catchers was going right to left, and that was just picking off defenders and making it. I don't know. It was probably Devin that was supposed to cover him. He had no shot. He couldn't get through all the traffic to even come close to catch nothing.
All he got to do was watch him go by.
It was just great play design that I think would have beaten every linebacker in the league.
Yeah.
Except maybe Fred Warner.
Maybe.
So good.
Who is very.
He's just the best coverage linebacker in the league.
Yep.
So I was really impressed by that, and I'd like to see us run a play like that.
Well, there's no secrets in the NFL.
It's a copycat league.
Yeah, it could crop up. All right. You cross.
I'm crossing stuff off.
Yeah,
I've already talked about it. We don't. How
about Yaya? We didn't really talk a whole lot.
That's a good one.
Let's talk about Yaya.
Because we don't have a lot of questions this week.
Okay, that's fine. Let's talk a little bit about
Nor
Yaya.
a guest.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of hard with Thanksgiving weekend, and in fact,
they're doing turkey time right now.
Yeah, they're doing turkey time with the O-line,
which is cool.
Which is very cool. And then that's props to the O-line and the offensive line coaches all donating. Also to Publix and Tico for being sponsors. It's the 17th year for that. Can you believe that?
That's incredible. Started originally by Davin Joseph and Jeremy Trueblood.
Yep, and the tradition has continued. It has passed on. Someone's picked it up, and I think Tristan's the lead dog on that one now. So
makes sense.
He's
a captain.
Yep.
They just sent out the.
I know the schedule for
the media schedule.
Yeah, and that's
everything's earlier, which is cool.
That was the next thing is we were just getting what I was going to say before I got on the turkey time with the O-line. There's basically they're going to get all the coordinators for those that don't know, the head coach, defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, and your quarterback all have to talk to the media during the week. And usually it's Wednesdays and Thursdays. And this week they're putting everybody on Wednesday, which is going to be a busy day tomorrow. But gosh golly, maybe Thursday it's going to be a limited day, which we appreciate.
Yeah, they get them out of here quickly, so you can go home and have Thanksgiving dinner with their families.
Yep, going to have practice earlier, so that afternoon you get home just about the time second quarter of that first game will be on. So that'll be a plus.
I love watching football on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, because there's nothing else to do besides eat.
All right, so you wanted to talk about Yaya.
Yes.
So talk about him.
Well, I am just very, very impressed with how fast he is and that he is being able to get over there, and he's got that strong rush.
He's strong.
He's very strong rush. And I'm happy to see him get in, and not only get in, but actually get a sack, make things happen. And now you have to account for him. And with Vita Vea being in there and Yaya being in there, all of a sudden things could change very, very quickly. Now the question is, how many snaps can he take?
I think he can take a good number of snaps.
Yeah.
It went down this week, which for some reason everybody was up in arms about. It fluctuates from week to week.
Yeah.
I mean, just last week he had the second most snaps of
Right.
all the outside linebackers. This week, no. But next week it might be 40 snaps again. It's how the game flows.
Yeah.
He had one sack early and he had his second one late. So it wasn't like he was dominating early and we refused to put him back on the field.
Right.
But whatever. Got to have something to talk about. He's looked great. He's had 4 sacks in his last 4 games.
Think about that. Four sacks in his last 4 games.
Yeah. He's now only one behind the rookie leader in sacks.
There you go.
So you draft Kalijah Cansey,
Yep.
who we think is going to be a real big, impactful player. And then you get in the third round, you get a guy that, found something here.
Yeah. Yep. And you have those 3 together.
I can go through our history, and finding impactful edge rushers in the middle rounds is almost
It won't take
it almost never happens.
There won't be a lot of names popping up.
You either have to spend a premium first-round pick on them, usually a high first-round pick, or you have to find one in free agency. But let's just talk about the draft.
Yeah.
You have to find who have our best pass rushers been. Leroy Selman, first pick in the draft. Warren Sapp, something like the 8th or 9th pick in the draft, 10, 12, something like that.
I thought it was 18th.
No, it was
that was
no lower
Brooks.
than 12. No, Brooks was 28.
I thought he
Jeff.
dropped.
He did to 28.
12 to
Sapp dropped to 12.
okay.
Brooks dropped to 28.
All right.
If you want a reminder of the history,
Sure. Remind us.
we originally were picking, I don't know, somewhere in the top 7.
Uh-huh.
And I believe it was with the Eagles we traded because they wanted to come up and get Mike Mamula. And Warren Sapp's draft stock, even though he's considered an incredible player, had dropped a little bit.
Due to rumors.
Rumors that wasn't very fair to him.
Right.
And so the Bucs thought they could move back and get him, which they did.
Okay.
So you get some. What exactly? Let's look at it exactly. This was 1995.
Yeah.
Okay. The Buccaneers were at 7.
All right.
They traded back to 12 with the Eagles, who wanted Mike Mamula, who, if you remember, was the workout warrior, combine warrior, the original, defensive lineman, edge rusher. But he was the original combine warrior who puts up ridiculous numbers, and he gets drafted really high despite his production. But he gets a little bit of a rep because he was not a bust.
Yeah.
He actually had a decent career.
Sure.
And they got for it a second-round pick, which became Melvin Johnson, another second-round pick, which we traded, and that's what we got for, and we gave back a third-round pick to move from 7 down to 12.
Okay.
Then we take Warren Sapp at 12.
All
then
right. So it was 12.
a player we very much coveted, Derek Brooks, was dropping because at the time he was considered small for a linebacker.
Isn't that funny?
And so the Bucs used one of those picks that they got in the trade down for Sapp and packaged it within their own second-round pick, moved back up to 28, and got Derek Brooks 2 Hall of Famers in one round.
Yeah.
The most masterful couple hours of Rich McKay's career.
Yes.
I mean,
2
he's had a
Hall of
great
Famers.
NFL career, but that has to be the top hour.
Yeah,
right?
well, I mean, come on, really. How many times do you get to pick 2 first Hall of Famers?
I think it's happened. I know the Bears did it with who was that running back, the little one?
The little one. You mean?
He wasn't very big. He was not very big.
He wasn't very big.
But he's a Hall of Famer.
Sweetness?
No, a small.
You say a Bears running back.
Yeah,
the only person
it's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's somebody. Some people are screaming at the podcast right now, going, "But Gale Sayers, Gale Sayers!" They're screaming.
Gale Sayers. Oh, you're going way, way back.
Yeah, but it happened. I'm calling up. Was it Butkus and Sayers?
Yeah, and he only played for
his career was short.
Very short because.
But he still made the Hall of Fame.
He did. Yep.
What year was that? 67, 68?
Well, that's why we didn't get it.
Okay, so Chicago drafted Dick Butkus 3rd and Gale Sayers 4th in 1965, and they both went to the Hall of Fame. Wow. I think there might have been one other instance, but that's the one I can think of off the top of my head. Yeah. But it's still incredible. But anyway, how did we get into that?
We got into it because of getting a edge rusher in the 3rd round.
Yeah, if you get – well, maybe some other teams have been – we have not. Mm-hmm. We either have to spend a top pick on them, and that's why I was going through Leroy Selman, Warren Sapp.
And then I sidetracked.
Simeon Rice, we didn't draft him, but he was like the 3rd overall pick. Gerald McCoy.
Yep.
3rd overall pick?
Yep.
The best,
was he 3rd or 2nd overall?
3rd because Ndamukong Suh went 2nd and Sam Bradford went 1st.
Oh, yeah.
The 2 Oklahoma guys went 1.
Yeah.
3.
I forgot.
Was Ndamukong Suh, the Nebraska guy in the middle. Did I ever tell you my Sam Bradford story?
No. Is it good?
So it was the morning after.
I'll be the judge of that.
I was up at the draft. We used to go to the draft every now and then to cover it, particularly if we got a high pick. So we were up there in New York, back when the draft was in New York every year, and we drafted Gerald McCoy. I was supposed to get him to the airport the next day.
Yeah.
And I get to the hotel very early because it was an early flight to pick him up, and he's not down in the lobby. And I asked to call up to his room, and there's no answer. Uh-huh. And I saw Sam Bradford in the lobby, and I figured, okay, they just were Oklahoma teammates. It's not unreasonable to ask Sam Bradford if he might know where
Gerald is.
Gerald is. he couldn't have blown me off worse.
Really?
I mean, he didn't know the answer, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah,
but he
but-
big-timed me big time. And I
Really?
wasn't trying to get an autograph. Wasn't trying to talk to him. Just thought maybe he might know where Gerald McCoy is. And, yeah, so I've never been a big Sam Bradford fan.
No. Wow.
But he made a metric ton of money in the NFL.
Yes, he did.
Because he was right before they put in that rookie wage scale.
Yep.
You lucky dog.
Before the NFL.
And good for him for that.
Yep. The NFL went, wait a minute, we're paying people all this money and they never played it down before?
Yeah.
Maybe there's something wrong with this theory.
So, yeah. It's like I'm saying, sometimes you come across one like who's good for a while, like Marquise Smith.
What? Oh.
Marquise Smith, wasn't that his name? You might find an undrafted guy like John Randall.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
In between, getting a productive pass rusher in the third round is at least for us, is
right.
very uncommon. So if that works out, it's working out so far.
And not only that, but in his rookie year, he's doing so well.
Yeah, he has. Well, he's already only 2 behind the third best rookie sack season we've ever had.
Wow.
Gaines Adams had 6, Adrian Claiborne had 7.5, and Santana Dotson, who was a 5th-round pick, had 10 in 92.
Had 10? Well, he's got a shot. There's still,
7 games left.
7 games left.
If he got to 10 sacks,
Yeah.
now it's a home run of a pick.
There you go.
We're getting way ahead of ourselves there.
Well, it's the holiday season in a few days.
But I guess that's my point. Second place was Adrian Claiborne, a first-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Third place is Gaines Adams, a first-round pick.
Right.
So did I say first-round pick for Adrian? Because that's what I meant.
Yeah.
First-round pick.
So what you're basically saying is the scouting department's been on target a few times.
They did a good job on
They
that
did a
one,
good
at least
one,
from the early returns.
Yep.
So
I like it.
Yaya's playing great. He's also a very pleasant guy to be around.
That was the next thing I was going to say. He's very, very nice.
The Marquise Watts story, he did get after his first chance to play, and he had a nice game and on 11 snaps against Tennessee. They decided to keep him active over Cam Gill,
Right.
which I was a tad surprised by because Cam plays so much on special teams. But I guess Marquise Watts just took all his special team snaps. He had 3 snaps, so you can't say a ton. But I literally wrote down during the game on this note sheet and I talked to Andrew Holman next to me, and he agreed that Marquise Watts had one of his snaps. He had just an excellent pass rush. Yeah. I mean, it was really good.
He was there.
But Purdy got the ball off, as he did all day.
Yeah, and he's pretty good.
So I just thought, okay, yeah, he's showing again, but he only played 3 snaps.
Well, I think that's what keeps all the not hope, but there's a lot of promise moving forward when you start seeing that.
All right, you want to pivot now to something that pissed me off?
Well, geez, what could that possibly be?
Why were there not flags thrown on all those late hits out of bounds?
Oh,
They were blatant.
yes.
There were guys that weren't contacted. I get it. Sometimes it looks like a late hit, and then you see it and it's like he's already starting to make contact.
Yeah.
Why is going to? I get that. This was ones where our guy went out of bounds before contact, was clearly out of bounds, and got hit. That had to happen at least 3 times.
Yeah, and the one time they threw a flag, they picked it up.
They picked it up.
But in fairness to them, it was because the guy that got flagged on was pushed into him.
Whatever.
So, but I agree.
Was that true? Did you go back and look at it?
Yes, I looked at that, and in that one I went, okay, I can see why they did that. But you're absolutely correct. It was very, very questionable on.
I think there was one. I think there was one
in
that
front
should
of
have been called
bench.
against us too.
Yes.
It's like they decided not to call that particular penalty all day.
Yeah. There are struggles.
And then I was complaining about one that we had one earlier in the game where I think our defender blatantly interfered, but it wasn't called.
Right.
And then we had one kind of towards the end when things were desperate. I don't remember exactly who it was. I think maybe it was on Mike.
It was.
Okay, so he looked like he got absolutely mugged. And I'm going, how is that? I'm not yelling because I'm in the press box. How is that not a penalty? And then somebody goes, they heard the broadcast, the ball was tipped.
Yeah.
And if you don't happen to know,
if the ball wasn't tipped.
if you don't happen to know the rules, once the ball's tipped, there's no pass interference.
Right.
You can
do whatever you
drag
want.
the guy to the ground if you want to, which is a weird rule in a way.
Well, not really, because once the ball's tipped, it's no longer it's touched another player, so it's a free ball for anybody.
Well, it's already a free ball for anybody.
Yeah, but it changes. It changes in the fact of
anybody can catch it now.
Correct.
Yeah, but when you're talking about the cornerback and the receiver, they were already eligible to catch the ball. So
right.
I don't know. I think it's a weird rule.
Yep. Well, at least there is one.
Oh, hey.
And they got it right.
One thing that was good,
What?
and we knew this going in because we were there last year.
Was the candy bar? Was the candy island?
Pretty much everything in that press box
Yeah.
was nice.
Things that you liked?
No, it's just
Yeah.
they had they have a little island where they've got lots of candy. You can like pour out of the tubes
Yeah.
like Jelly Bellies.
You know what?
But they also like boxes of Mike and Ike's and stuff like that.
Yeah, but the best part about all that candy, which I like, is they have little bags off to the side. So you open up your little bag and you turn the little crank and it puts your stuff in and you can mix it all up.
You
so
feel
you
like
have
you're
a
in an
little
old-time candy
Yeah,
store?
you got a little variety pack.
And then you don't even have to go get it weighed and pay for it.
Well,
it's free.
listen, and I made my little thing, got everything I wanted, and then throughout the game during breaks, I think I'll have some M&Ms. I think I'll have one of these. They had malted milk balls too.
I didn't even see that.
Oh yes, and they got these hot things there. I can't.
Red Hots?
No, they're like Red Hots.
Hot tamales.
Hot tamales.
I like hot tamales.
I know. Yep.
They're basically like Mike and Ike's in terms of shape and consistency, but they taste like cinnamon.
Yeah, and I got a box of those. But you know what my favorite thing was, other than the candy bar or the candy island. I thought during the national anthem, the flyover was really awesome.
Helicopters?
Yes, and the reason why is because we were up that high, and to hit the home of the Brave, they slowed up a little bit. You could see them slowing up to come over, and then when they came over, that was cool because it was almost eye leveled.
It was a timing thing, huh?
It was very much so. I thought that was very, very cool because that was the last veteran salute to service game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what that was. In fact, I actually took a picture of the helicopters because it was that cool.
Well, back to the candy thing, there was a funny moment because one of the candies in boxes was chewy sweet tarts. You ever had those?
No.
They're a little round. They're not a disc like a regular sweet tart.
Okay.
They're a little round. They're chewy, as the name would suggest. And they're really good. And Brianna Dix, the team writer reporter, she was very happy to see those because she's very fond of them. So she had them. She'd been looking forward to it. She waited until a certain point in the game, and she opened the box, had a few, and then promptly spilled the whole box on the floor. It was
Why am I not surprised by this?
It was hilarious. It was hilarious. And she was.
Were those the boxes that were in front of every media person?
No.
What were those?
They put bags of like Chex Mix and stuff. I wasn't into that. It was nice of them to do so, but I wasn't into it. No, these are like those little rectangular boxes like you see at Walgreens. Buy 3 of them for $5 or whatever. Right. And she was so bummed. It was cute. She was so bummed because they were out of them. And I went over to the island to see if there wasn't any more. And then later I went back and they'd replenished them. So I kind of snuck over and put the box in front of her. And she was happy.
It happen.
She was happy again.
There you go. Very good. That's being a team
I grabbed
player.
a box of Mike and Ike's.
Yep.
I actually, during the game.
What are Mike and Ike's?
They're chewy fruit candy.
Oh, okay.
They're shaped exactly like hot tamales.
Oh, okay.
But they're like red, yellow, green, orange.
All right.
Well, I took that home with me, but I got one of those little bags you're talking about and got the Jelly Bellies because that's the best way. I'm not going to go buy a bag of those because they're expensive as candies go.
Yeah.
And they're famously the flavor. You can get a bomb flavor that you really don't like.
Want. But in this one, you
it looks like lemon and it's butter popcorn and it's gross.
And you could choose this.
This one, I can choose the ones I like and then just toss the rest, and I didn't have to pay for it.
Now, did you put it in the bag?
Yeah, I did.
And you took it home?
No, I ate a few. I didn't go crazy. I ate some during the game and then just tossed what I did.
See, what I also did is I took the bag and I folded it over, and then we have this really strong duct. It's not duct tape. It's I don't know. It's like duct tape, but it's
goose tape.
No, I
know it's not duck. It's duct.
Yeah, it is.
Although I think there's a brand of duct tape called duct tape.
It is. It's. Anyways, it doesn't. It undones. You can pull it up where it undones. Anyways,
it's adhesive, but you can remove it.
Correct. Thank you.
Okay.
You're a wordsmith.
Yeah.
So
I kind of do that for a living.
So I put the. I talk for a living.
Yeah,
you would be shocked by this, right? So I put it in the bag.
You talk for recreation too. Let's be fair.
That's true. I put in a bag, and then I took it and I taped it so I could take it home with me.
What was in it?
M&Ms.
I'm not that into
I
M&Ms.
love M&Ms.
Just the regular ones, not the peanut ones.
Well, I like both, but this was just
This was regular?
M&Ms. And the good news was they were in my briefcase. And yesterday, when I was really feeling tired from the red-eye flight back, I remembered. So I had a sugar high.
Oh, okay.
I got my M&Ms.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
Good for you. I'm just looking out my window now, and it reminded me that you've been in that office the whole time you've been here.
You mean beep, beep.
So
The Christmas lights are going up.
I'm just in my second season in this office right next to yours, which is they are facing the front of the building on the second floor, basically just to the left of the lobby.
There's a huge football outside.
So the front of the Advent Health Training Center, famously every year, the owners have them install red lights on all the seams. It's like a football. The front half of it is depicted by the seams. It's not a full.
Correct.
So you can see in or see out.
Yeah, it's all glass. It's glass, but with metal beams.
Yeah.
Depicting a football.
They put strings of red lights along all those beams, and then it starts at Thanksgiving, right?
Yep.
So through the holiday season, every night they light it up.
Yep. They'll wait. Yes.
So this week and maybe a little bit last week, I don't remember, is the time when they're putting those lights on because they put them on and take them off every year. They don't leave them up all year.
Nope.
Which means that Jeff and I all day. There's a big one of those big green lifts or booms or whatever you call it that they're using to raise up the people who are working. And every time those machines move, they give the warning beep.
And that's back up, forward, or up and down.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not even rolling. It's just the arms moving up and down. It's constant beep, 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 all day.
But you know what that tells me?
It's holiday season.
Holiday season's coming.
The end result is great, but working through the beeps is not my favorite.
And I totally appreciate the fact that they're not putting it up just before Halloween. They're waiting. It'll light up after Thanksgiving.
They're sticking to it
the way it should be. The way you celebrate the
Will it start
Christmas
on Thanksgiving or like the next week?
I'm pretty sure it starts like right on Thanksgiving.
Okay, that makes sense.
In that period of time. Maybe tonight because they have to test it to see if all the tubes are working.
Tubes.
So you're going to have that. All right. What else you got?
I don't really have anything.
All right. Well,
I have a note
I
here.
will say this. As disappointing as you were hoping the record would be at this stage of the game, the team's still in it.
For sure. One game out.
And one game out. And, you need to get on a roll right now. Time is starting.
So there's only 7 games left.
Yeah, there's only 7. Maybe you could afford to lose 1. That's according to my math. But as Scott says, my math is never very good.
Well, I don't like looking at it that way.
No.
What I look at
you
is
don't. What do you look at? On who you think you should win?
Not that. Not saying we have to win 6 or 7 or something like that.
Okay.
I don't see the point in that because we don't know how it's all going to unfold.
Correct.
So my point would be, as you noted correctly, we're only 1 game out of first place right now. And everybody's gotten their bye now. Okay.
Right.
Next week, the Buccaneers play at Indy. Who do the Saints play?
They play Atlanta.
Okay.
So you have to. So one of those 2 teams is going to have another game up on you if you don't win.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Instead of thinking it like you got to win 6 or 7, let's see what happens this week.
Okay.
If let's say the Bucs win, which I think we got a shot. The injuries are concerning.
Yeah.
But I think that our team is as good.
You can run with these guys.
Let's say Atlanta beats New Orleans, which isn't crazy.
No.
They're only a game back in New Orleans. I know they have quarterback issues.
Which we all will be hoping for.
We will be rooting for Atlanta for one of the few times in our lives.
Yep. Even though they have a game on us because they beat us.
Right, but still.
This would help.
We would like to see New Orleans come back.
Yeah.
If that happened, let's wait and see what happens. If that happens, now you're tied for first with 2 other teams.
Yeah.
With 6 to go.
Yep.
Okay, so and you play 4 more games against division opponents, including 2 against 1-9 Carolina, which I'm not taking for granted. Don't get me wrong.
No.
Carolina beat Houston.
Right.
I'm not taking them for granted in any way.
How does that work? I mean, seriously, how does that work?
Arizona beat Dallas.
I know, but you look at that and they beat them, and then we play them, and they haven't lost since.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
But I think that shows you that there's a lot of the talent level is very level
Yeah.
in the NFL, and there's a few standout teams. I mean, obviously the 49ers and Eagles are loaded.
Uh-huh.
The Chiefs have issues, but they have Patrick Mahomes and actually a really good defense. This
Well,
year.
you know, that game last night, watching that drop passes in the end zone, it didn't make me feel better, but it made me go, even it happens. It just happens, you know, guys. It's.
We don't need to do an extended Chiefs discussion here,
No.
but last year they traded Tyreek Hill, and everybody's worried that they wouldn't be able to win. They didn't have the receiving talent,
Right.
But because Patrick Mahomes is who he is, they made it work, and they were awesome. Their offense was statistically even better than when they had Hill, and they won the Super Bowl.
Right.
This year, though, they didn't really. An analyst would say, looking at what they did, what did they do to fix the receiver issue? This year, they're not overcoming it.
No.
I mean, they're 7-3, so
Sure.
alarm bells aren't going off.
For them, they're struggling. But you know what's funny is after the game was over with, Patrick Mahomes was walking to the sideline, and he took his sweatbands off, and he threw it to a fan. True story. The fan dropped it.
He's cursed.
I saw a clip on that, and it said, even the fans can't catch his ball. That's how you know you're having a bad night.
They say there's some quarterbacks, excuse me, didn't get the cuff button, who throw it so hard that sometimes they are a little harder to catch. But I don't think that's the case with Mahomes. I don't think he's throwing it too hard.
No.
Those are just bad drops.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who was it? MVS who had the one that would have been a touchdown?
Yeah, I mean, that was a floater. That was a floater. I mean, you're like,
it's a beautiful pass.
Oh, my gosh, this game's over. Yeah. He's going, but you got to make the play. All right.
Wow. All right.
What else?
I don't have anything else.
But I do believe, that this could be an interesting game with the Colts. And the Colts are battling, too, right now. So they're trying to come out. So, and at least it's indoors because it's going to be 40 degrees. So I'm happy about that.
If you want, I could kill some time talking about my fantasy teams. They all won this week.
Well, let me go. I'll tell you what. You talk about fantasy, and let me go get some more green tea.
All right. Instead, why don't we just go to the questions?
Okay, let's go to the questions.
I believe we only have 2 this week.
All right.
Which is a bummer.
Well, it's the holidays. A lot's going on.
Game was bad.
Yeah. Well, and, it's like anything else. It's the ebbs and flows of the season,
Maybe this one is also new.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess it was.
All right.
Wait a minute.
You're thinking? You're wondering?
Oh, you know what? These are new. I didn't realize we had some from earlier.
Uh-huh. I don't have this email, so I have no idea what you got in there.
I think we have 4.
All right, go ahead.
Because I don't think we did this one. If we did, remind me.
All right.
This is from a fan apparently in Alaska.
No, we haven't done Alaska
named Rhett Goodrich.
Hey.
Oh, he says he signs off as Rhett in quotation marks. Rhett the Squatch Goodrich. So he gave us his nickname. That's a good nickname. The Squatch.
Which part of Alaska does he say?
I don't think so, but let me read the question. Ahoy and quite literally shiver me timbers from frozen Alaska. Well done.
Very well done.
Well done. Kind of combined pirate talk with the coldness of Alaska. Have you ever been to Alaska? You've done a cruise, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
I spent almost 3 weeks in Alaska.
3 weeks?
Yeah, driving around.
Did you freeze your bippy off?
It started out that way. It was like in April, and then in May, it was like the seasons were changing, which was when we got there, it was brown, and then when we left, it was green. It started to green.
So it was nice.
It is so beautiful.
Yeah, that's obvious.
That you OD on beautifulness. That you're in the car and you go, if I go around this mountain again and there's this majestic view, I just want to die. And you do, and
it happens.
And you'd be driving on the way to Valdez, was going up the mountain. You go up and then you got to go down, and it was a sunny, beautiful day, and we got to the mountains and it was a snowstorm. And then when we dropped down, it was sunny again.
Oh, man.
All in like an hour drive.
That's really cool.
It is very, very cool.
Was Linda with?
Mm-hmm. And the most fascinating thing for me in Alaska, I know this is going to sound so dorky, the Alaskan pipeline. You know what that is?
It's oil?
The oil pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
I would stop and go up to the pipe and listen to it. It is phenomenal how they buried it, and then in certain parts it has to be up. how they built that in the 70s is mind-boggling. When we got to Valdez, they have a museum, and they showed all the people working, and they would never shut the diesel trucks off because of how cold it was. If they shut them off, they wouldn't start again. They would freeze. And so you have men or women, people working on this pipeline through all of it. And if you're an Alaskan, I think that's what you would be. Or
Alaskan.
an Alaskan?
Yeah, where would the I come from?
I don't know. Just
They're Alaskans.
okay.
Alaskavites.
They get a check every year from.
Every Alaskan?
If you're there, you get a resident. If you're a resident there, you get a check because of how much the oil is generating in revenue. How about that for a little history lesson?
Okay.
All right. Well,
All right.
go.
First off, let me say that I am a longtime listener of your show because you guys help keep me close to our frustrating but beloved Buccaneers.
I like that.
Okay.
What?
You like that?
I like that because he's still with us, even though it's frustrating.
It's frustrating right now, but we have been to the playoffs each of the last 3 years, won 2 division titles, and won a Super Bowl.
Right.
How frustrating was that?
Once you win a Super Bowl, you win it each and every year afterwards.
No. Anyway, he was being nice, so I shouldn't nitpick.
Yeah.
I listen to your podcast every week on my hour-long to and from work.
Wow.
And absolutely love the chemistry between the two of you. You complement each other perfectly. Hear that, Peg?
I know. I was going to say, it must not be.
I'm a retired Army veteran
Yeah.
that was transplanted in Alaska and ended up falling in love with it. Which you've just explained why that would happen. I graduated in Bradenton.
Wow.
And was also stationed at MacDill and volunteered on the pirate ship, he means at the stadium, for a couple of years in 2007 and 8.
How cool is that?
Which was one playoff season and one that should have been a playoff season.
Sure.
Okay, my question. Boy, I didn't read these ahead of time, so I hope I'll answer.
No, you're fine.
Scott, can you please explain to me the reasoning behind the rule during the 2-minute warning where only the original ball carrier can advance the football after a fumble? I would have loved to see Tristan run that ball back for a touchdown and don't understand why he couldn't. Anyway, you guys are awesome, and I look forward to each and every forthcoming Salty Dogs podcast. Try to stay cool down there. Yeah, it was back in the 80s today.
Yeah.
We had a nice week.
Mm-hmm.
Like jeans.
Yeah, I had.
Okay, well, first of all, he didn't run for a touchdown.
Drove to work without the air conditioner on. It was so cold.
I usually drive with the windows open. Well, I mean, he didn't run for a touchdown. He got tackled.
Right.
I mean, the play happened. It just didn't count.
I think he's confused because
No, I don't think he's confused. He just wants to know the reasoning.
I always thought you couldn't advance the fumble no matter what time of the clock.
No. Only in the last 2 minutes.
Only
of each
in the
half.
last two.
And
Okay.
here's the reason why.
Because of
It
the
came
Raiders.
from the holy roller play.
Yeah.
The Raiders had a play where it was the last play, and I guess the quarterback, I don't remember exactly how it went down. I can picture the ball bouncing.
Sure.
I guess the quarterback purposely fumbled the ball forward because why not? If I'm sacked, the game's over.
Correct.
And it rolled like 20 yards, bounced and rolled, and then a different Raiders player recovered in the end zone, and it was the game-winning touchdown. That was thought to be unfair, and so they changed the rule. In the last 2 minutes, if an offensive player fumbles the ball, anybody on the team can recover it to maintain possession, but only the original fumbler can recover it and advance it. And that's to keep
people from cheating.
Players in desperate situations from cheating by just purposely fumbling the ball forward. They don't want that to be an option. They don't want you to gain by doing something that, purposely fumbling the ball.
Right.
The reason that it's not a penalty, the reason that that's not a rule outside the last 2 minutes is because nobody would ever take the risk of purposely fumbling the ball, just hoping that your coach would kill you if you did that.
That's a good explanation.
Because you still have time, and if you fumble the ball, you don't know who's going to recover it.
Yeah.
So you would never risk that, so they don't have to worry about purposeful fumbles. I mean, obviously Baker didn't purposely fumble the ball,
right?
But it was still subject to that rule.
Makes sense.
But they don't enforce the rule elsewhere because nobody would do that.
No, that's perfectly good sense. That explains it all. Because why would you do that? Because you're giving the ball to someone else, the possibility of giving.
The thing is, it was barely within the 2 minute warning. It was it was literally the second play run out of the first out after the 2-minute warning. There was 1:52 on the clock when the snap, so he wouldn't have purposely fumbled with the ball at the. He had just run. Wait a minute, that's not the play.
No, that was.
Here it is.
Yeah,
Wait,
but he's got a call sheet. That's what he's looking at.
it's called a box score, Jeff.
I always thought it was.
Play-by-play.
I always thought it was the game
Where
book.
did that happen?
Is it just not the game book? Because
Yeah, that's another way. That's another
the
thing people
NFL
call
calls it a game book,
call it a game book.
off of Jesus.
Was it? But this was the Tennessee game. That's why I'm confused, right?
Yeah, you're looking at the San Francisco game.
There was the Tennessee game, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It was last week, not 2 weeks
right,
ago.
because this email was sent before the San Francisco game.
Correct. But that's the explanation why.
That's why I couldn't find it in the San Francisco game.
I thought
just
maybe
wasn't there.
I thought maybe you just carry a lot of papers with you.
Well,
I don't know.
Look how quick I can get a Tennessee one this quickly.
All right,
Boom, I got it.
Pull it up and see what you got.
I got files, baby.
Yeah, I used to do that too. And
was it the first half?
Yeah.
It had to be, right?
It was the first half. Yes. It was the first half. That would be before halftime.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there was 1:22 left.
Okay.
And since we recovered it, we actually ended up punting.
Yeah.
We won that game.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Great email. Great email. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. Stay warm.
All right.
Thank
Mark
you.
Rice from Mesa, Arizona.
All right.
Gentlemen, the mic'd up videos that the team produce are always great, but the latest installment featuring Levante David presented a few particularly great moments that I wanted to call attention to.
Oh.
The first was around the 2-minute mark, right after Levante had an opportunity on a tipped, bobbling interception. The subsequent clip shows him running off the field, and you hear a coach, I didn't notice which one, say to him, "You owe me 20 on the jugs," which means the jugs machine, which is what they do to simulate passes.
So you learn how to catch.
Yeah. So the coach was telling me he had to work
it.
on catching the ball. The second was at about 4 minutes 40 seconds when Levante sees Coach Lori Locust, as he points out, who's now with Tennessee but was with us for 3 or 4 years.
Yep.
After the game and during their embrace, her first remark was, "Why do you still have to be so good?"
Oh.
And his reply was simply, "Like fine wine." And Mark says, "I couldn't agree more. Thanks for what you do and happy Thanksgiving." Yes, happy Thanksgiving to you too. Is the office deserted? The lights just went out.
Yeah, well, it's turkey time for the O-line, and the office staff volunteers. So they're all out in lot 14.
It's nice that they're doing that. It also was a day where people could work from home. So
That's true.
There weren't a lot of people here.
But there are a lot of people volunteering.
Yeah, they do. They do. It's good.
A lot of people came in. A lot of people worked from home and then came in to do turkey time for the O-line.
Which is great.
Yeah.
If anybody doesn't know what that is, I mean, it's probably self-evident, self-explanatory. But all the players on the O-line pitch in.
They donate money.
A good amount of money.
Yep.
So that they can purchase all the turkeys and all the trimmings for a Thanksgiving feast.
And then Publix steps up and donates and they bring refrigerated trucks.
Nice.
Out there, and then they form a big line.
Yeah, big
it is
line.
Yes.
People come through. They enjoy seeing the players and talking to the players, but then they also get the assistance, the food assistance
that they need.
It's people that are suffering from food crises.
Yeah.
Oh, the lights just came on. Somebody's here.
Yeah, someone walked
Motion
out.
sensors.
Well, that's what I love about here is.
That's what you love about it?
Yeah, where the motion sensors turn it off and on. It's conserving electricity.
Jeff's favorite.
Except when you leave your TV on when you leave. But go ahead.
I almost never do that. I did that like one time.
And I noticed.
The other day, I left pretty late and I left my lights on.
Oh.
My office lights, and I was walking out there. I'm like, I left my lights on. But I'm like, well, the cleaning crew will turn it off.
And did they?
I don't know. I left.
I know, but when you came back, were your lights on?
Yeah, in the morning, they were off.
Oh, okay. Well, then they did shut them off.
I thought they would.
Okay.
And I appreciate it.
All right, next question.
From Daniel in Palm Harbor.
Okay.
Ahoy, Salty Dogs. Even though we lost, there's still 7 games to go.
Yep.
And 4 division games to go. So anything can and will happen. I agree with the other people that write in that we need Salty Dog merchandise. At some point, we're going to have to actually
we will
cave in and do it, Jeff.
Well, I'm working on my budget, so I'm going to add a line, Salty Dog merchandise.
Okay, good.
All right.
My question is, who do you think is more likely to get the franchise tag? Mike Evans, Levante, David, or Antoine Winfield Jr.? In my opinion, he says, it should be Antoine Winfield because Evans has taken pay cuts before and he wants to stay here and finish his career here. We need to keep Antoine because he's a hell of a player and very talented and underrated, and he's the one we need to keep the most. I'm sure Levante will be back too. Keep up the good work and have a great, happy, and healthy Thanksgiving, guys.
Yep, back at you. I don't think you would franchise Levante.
I think Levante, I don't think you would.
No, because you would. I don't think you. If Levante wants to come back one more year, then you may have to.
I think it's just up to him, right?
Yeah, it might be up to him, or you might have to say, "Hey, we really want you back. We're kind of in a crunch. Here's what we'll do. Why don't you see what's out there? See if anybody will grab you."
I don't want him to say that.
Well, it's happened before.
I think there would be you couldn't franchise tag Levante because he's at the point in his career where he could just walk away.
Yeah,
he could just retire.
Well, that's true.
We don't know for 100% certain that he isn't going to retire. I hope not.
Right.
Because he's still playing at such a high level. Hopefully the fact that he's playing at such a high level this year will prompt him to want to stay. And hopefully, I don't think the right word is loyalty. I don't like because then you're putting all the onus on the player. You're like, we don't have to worry about him because he's loyal to us.
No.
But I think he wants to play here. I agree with that. Mike Evans, though, the assumptions being made here, that's a little shaky. I don't know what Mike Evans is thinking. That's a fact, and I want to preface that first. But we did have the deal at the beginning of the season where Mike clearly wanted a new contract to be done before the season and then said if it's not, we're not going to talk about it again until after the season. And? So you're not guaranteed that Mike is going to – you don't know for sure. You and I don't know that that's his number one priority.
No.
I hope it is.
Right.
I hope it is. I think he's the kind of player that would be awesome if he's with the same team for his whole career.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, he's great.
That's a hard one to swallow of not having. But you know what? We've seen it before, though. So
every team has. Every team has. I think, though, that this far into his career, I don't see them using a franchise tag on Mike. I could be wrong. And he's still obviously a great player. I also quibble with the fact that Dan says that he's taken pay cuts. I don't think Mike has ever taken a pay cut.
What people don't understand is you may take a number, a dollar amount for the year, but you're not taking a pay cut because it's made up in a bonus, meaning that they pay you immediately.
It's restructured.
Yeah.
It's always good for the player. It's nice. It's great that he's willing to do it. Don't get me wrong. He's helping us by doing so. But every player that's approached for a restructure should, and probably does, immediately say yes. Because all they do is they take the amount he was going to be paid and take a portion of that and change it from salary to a bonus that he gets right then. He gets it right then. If you're going to get paid $12 million for a year's worth of work and somebody says, wait, no, we'll just give you $8 million up front, why would you ever say no to that? You always want the money sooner.
And another sidebar on that is that's an ownership group that's willing.
You have to have an actual cash outlay.
You have to pay that.
Yeah.
It's not, and some owners can't swing that or they don't want to.
Which,
correct.
Hey, I've never been in that position, so I'm not going to, and I never will be.
You never had to turn down a 12th.
No, being an owner and saying I do or don't want to do and put that much cash on the line.
Right.
But what it does is, because when you get a bonus, it's prorated over the number of years left on the contract. So if you got 4 years left on your contract and you get an $8 million bonus, now it's a cap hit of just $2 million.
Right.
As you said, the cash is still real.
Sure.
It's a cap hit of $2 million this year instead of $8 million. So you just gave your team $6 million worth of cap hit. Mm-hmm. You're going to pay for it down the line.
Yeah, but still.
But that's what you do.
Taking care of business.
That's what you do in the NFL. So Mike has not taken pay cuts, nor should he have.
Right.
Certainly not saying that because he's been great every year of his career. But he hasn't taken pay cuts. He's helped by restructuring. So I would not use that as evidence that Mike wants to be here above all else.
Yeah.
Again, I have no idea, and I hope that he wants to be here, and I hope they will be here. But we don't know that.
No,
we don't know it.
Again, time will tell.
Antoine, as the youngest player and an ascending player, seems like the most obvious candidate if you want to use your franchise tag. And there's no guarantee the Bucs want to do that.
Right.
But if they do, I think Antoine seems like the obvious target. The preferred outcome would be instead of that they come together on a contract.
Yep. So it's long term and we're happy and he's happy.
Yeah, you don't have to preach to me on Antoine. I think I was the first one on the Antoine is amazing train.
Yeah, you're still there.
I hyped him before the season as a first-team All-Pro.
Yep.
So, agreed. Okay, moving on to the last one from Alexander in Brazil. Hope this finds you both well and adapted from the California time zone?
I don't think I never changed. I never really changed.
You just stayed on Eastern time all the time?
Well, basically because I was up at 3:30 in the morning and was like going, okay, I'm not really going to get up. And I laid there until 4:30. And then I went, hey, there's coffee in my room. Got up and made coffee. And
That was that, huh?
that was that. And then I was like lying to myself because I was basically saying, yes, it's dark outside, but really at home it was, 7:30 by the time I got up. So
I stayed up late and slept late.
yeah. You really? What time did you go to bed?
I don't remember.
That's my phone
Oh, I don't remember.
blowing up.
Oh, my phone's blowing up. Flex. All right. First off, Mr. Smith, sorry for not sending you a congratulations message for your sister's wedding.
Wow.
Hope they stay happy and healthy. Well,
Yeah,
me too. But
nice.
you don't have to be sorry about that. You know.
He's our friend. It's like,
know,
I
but-
forgot. I should have.
Anyway, thank you. And,
Yep.
and they had a nice, almost 2-week honeymoon in Spain.
Nice.
Second, I do not like to complain about a specific player, which is nice.
Sounds like a butt's coming.
So I'm just going to say that Yaya must be our starter and not used like a yo-yo in and out of the field. See what I did there? He says, see what I did there? Hope you did, otherwise it'll be embarrassing. No, I get it. Yaya, yo-yo.
Yeah, yo-yo. Uh-huh.
Okay, let's stop there. It doesn't matter.
No.
It doesn't matter who starts.
No.
You can count snaps,
Yeah.
and now you're saying something.
Sure.
It doesn't matter who starts.
Yeah, that's a fan thing that's fallen into. Because at one time, if you were a starter, you were there a lot. I mean,
They're going to
things have
rotate those
changed.
guys.
Yes.
They're going to rotate those guys.
Keep them fresh.
Let me guarantee you, not you specifically, Alexander, but anybody, the
Universal
coaches can see that Yaya is good
Yeah.
and that he should be on the field more.
Right.
Just some games, the way that it works out, he might not get the number of snaps that you think he should. Just last week against Tennessee, he had like 43 snaps, which was second only to Shaq among the outside linebackers.
Really?
Yeah, now, that was more than Joe.
Right.
Now, this week, he was more like 21 or 22,
Mm-hmm.
which was less than Joe. That doesn't mean anything going forward. And starting or not starting doesn't matter at all. It's
Right.
It's really who gets
Who
the
gets
snaps
there.
and who gets the high leverage
Yeah,
snaps. Who do you
right.
got on the field when it's a critical 3rd and 7?
There you go. Well put.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, third, I do not love the violence of the game per se, but when we are playing a team that physical and our guys start falling like flies to injuries and getting hit out of bounds,
Wow.
I do not appreciate when our players choose to not tackle the other quarterback. Okay.
Wow, he's on
a little bit of
rant.
little bit of a wordplay,
Yeah.
but we know he's such a positive.
Yes,
fan.
I know. Which
This
is
is a big
unusual
time
for
rant
him.
for him.
Yes. He is standing on his
Well,
desk screaming.
We did sack him 3 times.
Yeah.
And they definitely, I think he's joking, but we definitely did not choose not to hit the quarterback. We would have
But
liked to have hit him a lot more.
But sometimes it looked like that.
All right. Lastly, Mike, and he spells it the way Mike does in his logo. With the
Okay,
1 and the
very
3.
nice.
Continues to be amazing, and I hope we can sign him back next offseason. Levante is another really special Buck we have the pleasure to see. Now go get those Colts.
Yep.
Since you did, thanks for reading.
I like how he said we have the pleasure to see. I
Yeah.
like how that's put, and it's true.
It's been a pleasure to be around Levante for like a dozen years now.
Yep, I'm with you. All right,
That's it.
that's it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, big Thanksgiving plans.
We always go these times. We used to host, but we don't anymore. My niece does. And they do a great job of hosting.
Do you do Cuban influence or
There's some. There'll be some. Not some of it's Cuban. There, my brother-in-law is married to a Puerto Rican woman, so there's some food that's from Puerto Rico.
nice?
My son, who is obviously 50% Hispanic,
Yeah,
he grew up loving rice.
I love rice too.
And his Thanksgiving plates are always funny because it'll be like 4 different rice dishes.
Really, that
The woman I was
rice.
just talking about with the Puerto Rican background, she makes arroz con gandules, which he loves.
which is
It's white rice with these little beans. I don't know
Oh,
what kind
okay.
of beans they are.
all right.
They're like dark brown.
Uh-huh.
And then there'll be, my wife often makes ropa vieja, and so he'll have rice with ropa vieja. And I don't even remember all the rice dishes, but he'll have like 4 different rice dishes
I
on his
like it.
plate. But then there's also the traditional Thanksgiving foods.
Yeah, I like it.
All I want
Is
is
peace and quiet.
a little bit of dark meat.
Yeah, really, you're not a white meat guy.
No.
Wow.
Something to put gravy on, like stuffing.
Uh-huh.
And
It's not dressing.
whatever. And a dish that maybe isn't traditional for everybody's Thanksgiving, but my wife usually makes it, because she knows how much I like it.
Yeah.
Broccoli, rice, cheese casserole.
Oh.
And then a pumpkin pie if there's whipped cream.
You have to have the whipped cream?
Yeah.
Really?
Pumpkin pie without whipped cream is not, I just pass it.
We are so different.
And the ratio of whipped cream that I put on a pumpkin pie is large.
Really?
Yes.
See, we are so different. If I have any whipped cream on my pumpkin pie, it is like a little table, or a teaspoon.
A little dollop.
And a little, what would you call it, a dollop?
Dollop.
Yeah, that's basically it on that. I'm just not
I got to have a lot of whipped cream to cut it. I like it, but it's too much without the
Without
whipped cream.
that, huh?
Same thing with pecan pie. I need to have ice cream. Pecan pie is awesome.
Yeah.
But I can only eat a few bites if I don't have ice cream to cut it. It's so rich.
Oh.
See I'm saying?
I see. Wow. Okay, guy.
So what about you? What's your plans?
Probably turkey, stuffing.
You have to make it? Do you make it? Linda makes it?
I'm out of the house. Yeah, I'm gone. I'm not even. But I'll come in here briefly.
And she has to do all the work at home.
And then I'll go back. I may open up the bottle of wine or whatever, the Prosecco or whatever it may be. And football will be on.
Yeah.
And
Linda likes football too.
Yes. So
that's helpful.
Yeah. I mean, I walk in the door, and last night the Lightning were on, and then I fell asleep in the chair, and the Kansas City Chiefs were on, and I got up from the chair and went to bed. So that's basically my exciting life. Just kind of take it easy, and then we're into it. I like you're going somewhere. I just like to be home, because we're not home that much during this time of year. So
But you keep it to the two of you.
Yeah, I just like it nice and quiet, nice and easy. And I feel bad sometimes because we'll get invites to go to see, and it's always kind of like, thank you so much, but no, we.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be insulted if I invited you and you said that. It's like, no, that's just how he likes to spend it.
Yeah.
No, when you contrast that with what I was talking about, we get together it's Giselle's family. I don't have any of my family.
Sure.
So it's Giselle's side of the family. And for many years, we hosted at our house. Now, for a good number of years now, it's been at our niece's house.
Okay.
The advantage, like you said, it's nice to be at home. Nice not to have to go somewhere. It's nice to have people in your home.
Yep.
But then you also have all the cleanup.
Yeah. Well, then you got to work. Yeah. But if you go to someone else's house, you got to drive. This
one is in Ruskin.
Okay.
So it's a lengthy drive.
Yeah.
It's worth it when you get there, but I don't like the drive. So it's a lengthy drive, but you also get to leave.
Yeah, when you want.
They give you a leftover plate.
Yeah. Well, see, that's how it started, because I'm a big leftover Thanksgiving person. And so if I went to someone's house, I'm not getting all that stuff. So I know.
What's your how do you construct a leftover turkey sandwich?
I like it just with good bread, whether it's sourdough or something like that. And believe it or not, I don't like to put a whole lot on it, so I like a little mustard on it and salt and pepper, and there you go. You have a specialty?
Well, I agree with you in general in that I like a nice bread for sandwiches. Like sourdough is great.
Got to have good bread.
Well, okay, but wait. Sourdough is great. There's some other good ones out there. But for the and this is from my childhood, and my sister does the exact same thing. A leftover turkey sandwich. And I know I just said white meat, not a fan of, but it's good here. White bread, like Wonder Bread.
Oh, really?
Mayonnaise.
Yep.
White meat turkey.
Okay.
That's it. Boom.
That's a Midwestern sandwich.
I think it must be.
Because I grew up in Chicago, and that's how my mom used to make them.
I'm not. White bread's fine, but I would usually choose a wheat or something.
Yeah, sure.
But for Thanksgiving turkey sandwiches, white bread, mayonnaise, turkey.
Do you have dinner rolls when you?
There's dinner rolls at Thanksgiving, but I don't eat them.
You see, what I do is I cut the dinner roll and I take the inside out, and then I take turkey and stick it in there, and then I pour a little gravy on it, and then eat it that way.
That might be good with a Hawaiian roll.
Oh,
if they happen to be there.
Very good. That's Hawaiian rolls are sweet.
The digging out of the middle of the bread, that's a Bobby Flay trick.
Is that what it is?
Have you ever watched Beat Bobby Flay?
No.
He does that all the time.
Yeah, you do that, and then you can stuff in it.
You can put more stuff in there. The ratio becomes better.
So much, and then you have less bread because you have so much
now
stress.
I want a leftover turkey sandwich. I want to skip right past Thanksgiving.
You'll get to Friday before you know it. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Since happy Thanksgiving to all of you,
everyone.
However you celebrate.
And if you want to send us questions for future podcast episodes, it's saltydogs@buccaneers.nfl.com.
Since you did, thanks for listening.